What's up, grinders? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to watch a very small segment from this video right here. It's called I Learned the World's Hardest Language in 30 Days to Prove Anything is Possible. Now, I'm not going to watch the whole video. In fact, I already have, and I've fully reviewed this video, and I deemed it to be shit content, so I'm not going to upload it here. Now, I'm not saying the video itself is shit. I'm saying for the majority of this video, I could not provide anything of value commentary-wise because what he's doing in this video is he's hacking a test in order to pass it, and he's presenting how he does it by basically throwing time and money at the problem, which is a very easy thing to do if you've got the time and the money. So there wasn't really anything for me of value to provide. However, there is a lot of stuff I want to say about this video because it represents a lot of shit that I see with these types of videos in general. Now, I'm not going to say that this guy's come out here to like defraud people about what it takes to learn a language, okay? I just want you to understand that I'm using his video as an example of what generally happens, and it may be intentional, it may not be. So first up, what happens in these types of videos is a goal will be set. I'm going to learn a language within 30 days. That's the clickbait title, or I learned a language in 30 days. Clickbait title, very interesting. I want to learn a language in 30 days. I click on the video and then goalposts will be moved within about 30 seconds of the video. So what happens in this video is he changes from I will learn a language in 30 days to I will pass the HSK4 test in 30 days. And since HSK4 is deemed to be fluency, according to him, therefore I've learned the language in 30 days. Now I'll get onto all why that's bad. But now I want to talk about the second issue. And the second issue is that nearly all of these videos will start off with a demonstration of abilities because, well, you expect that, don't you? And how does this always happen? It happens in a marketplace where you'll be talking with a street vendor. And the conversations pretty much across all languages and for all these types of videos goes the same way. What is this? How much is this? They will tell you the price. Is this good? What do you recommend? Does this taste good? And that will be the extent of the conversation, maybe with a couple of words thrown in here and there. Now, you may look at this when you watch it, and we'll watch it together in a few seconds and go, shit, I brick, this guy is fluent. In fact, let's watch it before I continue.
什么味道？鲜的。里面是什么？是肉吗？没有肉。什么买的最好？都很好。
Okay, so we've seen the conversation now. And now we're going to discuss why this type of video or this type of conversation is a terrible, demonstration of abilities. Because you only need a very, 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 very small subset of the language in order to be able to make this type of video. You could learn all the words easily for this type of video, not even in 30 days. You could do it in a much shorter time. You could probably do it in a couple of weeks if you want to sound good. You could do it in a shorter time than that if you don't care about how you sound. Because all you need to be able to do is say a very few select sentences, and you can basically script this. You know what you need to say, you know the expected responses, you can train your ear for those expected responses, and you can basically have a few decision trees that you take during the conversation, and you know it's going to end rapidly once the sale is made. Because the street vendor right here that we're seeing, he wants to make a sale. He doesn't want to engage in a long conversation about, you know, how your mum's going, what did you get up to on the weekend, what's your favorite form of hentai. It's not going to happen. He wants to make a sale and he wants you to move on. Now, that's the first problem, okay? So we can easily create an illusion of fluency that doesn't exist. The second problem is a lot of these videos will happen in East Asia, where the culture is very different. When you learn their language, they will basically show massive appreciation. It doesn't matter how limited you are. You could literally walk up and say, ni hao, you know, that means hello, by the way, in Chinese to them. And they'll be like, oh, 天哪, 你的中文太好了, 我爱你. You know, they'll say like all this crazy Chinese to you and like, shower you in praise, and you will look so much better because, well, if someone comes up to the street and goes, hello, you know, in Australian English, what's up, mate? I'll be like, yeah, whatever. Like, I don't care. I will not show you any praise. That's just my culture, okay? But it's totally different over there. So if someone came up to me and spoke English and went, oh my God, you're freaking amazing. Like, obviously, there's something going on here, right? Like, there's something strange happening, especially in my culture. But in Chinese culture, and I'm sure this is actually, you know, completely true for other, like, cultures in this part of the region, they love when people try and attempt to learn their language. And the better you get, the less praise you get. Because at the beginning, they shower you with praise. They say you're so amazing, you're so good, and you know you're not. You're like, wow, am I really that good? Am I? And sometimes it does get to your head, but you're not that good, let's just be honest. But then when you start getting better, the praise starts to drop and they just want to engage in a conversation with you. They may praise you for like 1 second, then they'll start asking you questions about, do we really sell kangaroo ball wallets in Australia? Yes, we sell goddamn kangaroo ball wallets in Australia. We cut off the balls of kangaroos and you can use them as wallets. Do you know how many times I've had to explain that to Chinese people? That's like literally the first question they all ask me. Okay, so that's the first two problems with this type of video. And then, as I mentioned, we moved the goalposts, and we moved the goalposts in this specific video to HSK4, which is defined as fluency. However, here's the issue. So the HSK system, which represents language ability within the Chinese language, goes from level 1 to level 6. In recent years, it's been expanded, but I'm going to talk about the traditional system because most people who follow me have heard about it. And in fact, I need to explain this in a bit more detail now because I actually have a fair few subs who follow me for the humor and the exposure videos, who actually know shit all about languages, and they just love watching these types of videos for whatever reason. So HSK1 represents, your greetings and the basic, phonetics of the language type of thing. And then HSK6 represents that you are proficient enough to use this in a work environment, at least in a basic work environment. Now, this guy says, I'm going to reach HSK4 by the end of the video, and he does. He passes a test, and therefore, he's deemed as fluent. Here's the problem. He's basically hacked the test. And this is not like specifically him. This is like all these learn X language in X amount of days, and then I'll pass a test to prove that I've learned it. What happens is they hack the test. And I know with HSK, this is it's not very easy. It is easy to hack the test. So what happens is with HSK4, they'll give you like 1,200 words or whatever, and they'll say, you need to learn these words in order to pass the test. But these are the core words that you're expected to know if you were to take this test. You are meant to naturally learn the language up to this point. So take part in courses, read books, engage in conversations, absorb the language, and then by doing that, if you know those core words naturally, then you should be taking this test because that represents that you are at a level of fluency, or at least a low level of fluency type of thing. But you can hack this by just focusing on the test. Forget all that immersion and all that other crap. Just focusing on the test, learn the words you need for the test, learn the grammar you need for the test, go take the test, take like practice tests, take the actual test, and boom, you passed. And now you can claim your HSK4. But yes, you are HSK4, but you don't actually represent what you should be at that level. You have passed a test. You have passed a very sanitized version of the test where you've literally studied just for it. You've cheated yourself, in essence. You don't actually speak the level of the language that you should be by passing this test. This makes you look good to others because you passed this test, but realistically you've created now a situation where you're not that good. You actually aren't that good. And if you went to China, let's say if you focused on HSK5, just to pass the test, and you pass it, and then you go to China, I guarantee you'll probably understand nearly nothing beyond these very simple street interactions of purchasing goods. Because you will not have the vocab necessary to engage in anything beyond that. If you do a analysis of the words that actually exist in HSK 5 and 6, you're going to find a lot of really weird words that, why are they teaching stuff like fax machine? And, things like this. Like, is that really a common word that you need to know? No. But if you actually learnt the language naturally up to that point, then you would probably know that word, and you would have learned hundreds of other words related to, everyday items that you would find in a business or in a house type of thing. So the HSK system can be easily hacked, basically, is what I'm saying. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is we're going to quickly review the beginning. I'm going to listen and focus in on his language, and then we'll jump to the end and I'll listen and focus in again, because I believe the two ends are slightly different.
鲜的，里面是什么？是肉吗？没有肉。什么买的最好？都很好。
Okay, so there, the language, very, very simple. The most simple of phrases and words that you could possibly say. The pronunciation and the sounds were good. He actually got those down quite nicely, which I will say is surprising because most people who try to do this with Chinese will absolutely butch the tones and the sounds of the language. Now, as we go through the video, we actually hear slight mentions of the fact that he's tried learning Chinese before. He never goes into depth about how much he's learnt it, so therefore, my assumption is he's actually learnt the tones and the sounds previously. And right now, the neighbor's dog is going off its tits! Fuck that dog, man. It is so annoying. One day, mate, you're gonna get a steak over the fence, and that steak is gonna be the last steak you ever have. Okay, now let's jump to the end of this video and listen.
炒菜多，可以现在吃。可以。什么味道？咸的。咸的。对。可以买一份。
So as you can hear, you know, which one's good? Can I eat it? Can I try it? You know, and then can I have one? That's not very complex language when you think about it.
多少钱？
And in fact, you know that sentence where he said 多少钱? That you will learn in, I believe, the Pimsleur Level 1 tapes. Now, Pimsleur is a language learning system. It's tapes that you can listen to learn a language, and they have 5 levels, and each level consists of 30 tapes, and each tape is 30 minutes long. Literally, that one sentence, 多少钱, I'm pretty sure they teach in the very first tape. And I know they also teach it in the very first few lessons of Rosetta Stone as well. So this is like super duper entry level language. So it's understandable that he would say these phrases and sentences quite well after 30 days of intensive study. Now, by the way, in his intensive study journey, he commits like 10 plus hours a day to learning this language.
谢谢。我们成功了。
Okay, 我们成功了. There his tone started to get a little bit off.
我想尝尝。
Again, it's starting to sound a little bit bad now.
他说是一点咸的。请问什么买的最好？都很好。
Okay, again, we've got a same clip from the beginning.
好，我买我想买这个，多少钱？40。好。快点，谢谢。
Again, another very simple interaction, and then as soon as the sale was made, boom, out of there.
很好吃，可是有一点干，所以现在我渴。
Okay, so there his pronunciation was pretty bad in some spots.
虽然今天有这个问题，我真的很开心。我的中文不完美，但我希望这个视频。
Okay, as soon as, so that first part, 我的中文不完美, okay, that part was fine, but then it started to get bad. So we'll listen to that part again.
今天有这个问题，我真的很开心。我的中文不完美，但我希望这个视频。
So he says, done. It's not done, it's done.
可以激励你实现你的梦。
And then he said, 可以. Okay, so what he meant to say there was 鼓励, which means to encourage. He said something completely different. So what's happened here is this part of the video is actually rehearsed or scripted. So he's tried to learn this and then he's made a video and he's even got the pronunciation of the verb completely wrong there and completely messed it up. Now, I'm not making this video to shit on this guy. Massive props to him to committing to something so difficult as trying to learn Chinese and dedicating 30 days of his life to it. What I'm trying to get at here is that these types of videos paint a false image. If you don't speak Mandarin Chinese, you hear this, it sounds like gibberish, but it's really fast flowing gibberish, so he must be good. This actually proves to me that 30 days, even dedicating your entire life to the language, like 10 hours plus a day, at least in the back end of his studies, is nowhere near enough to even be able to get the most basic of sentences out. Now, I'm saying this because if you've been learning Mandarin Chinese or you're thinking about learning a language or you've been learning a language for years, a different language, and you see this, you're like, shit, man, why am I so crap? This guy did it in 30 days. No, what he managed to do in 30 days was a simple, very, very, very simple street interaction with a slightly scripted part at the end there. That's pretty much it. Now, I'm sure there's plenty more he can say. He could probably say he's tired, you know. He could say a few other things about, you know, his life, what he's done, you know, things like that. Things that obviously are not really that great for this conversation right here. But there was nothing that was of advanced grammar. Okay, so there's also one last part I want to point out. So here he says, 我的中文不完美，但我希望这个问题可以鼓励你。 So here, the done. So that is normally done shirt, okay? But it's been shortened to done. That type of shortening happens generally when you get more advanced within the language. Now, because I haven't taken the HSK test, I'm not even sure that they teach this shortening at this level. Now, he might have experienced and learned this in context when absorbing a ton of content, because remember, he did do 10 hours a day type of thing. But this is more upper level type of grammar. But his pronunciation was super low level, which makes me think that this is definitely scripted and has been given to him by someone who knows how to write this. Again, I just want to iterate, I am not shitting on this guy. What he has achieved is really, really good. But this is not fluency. And this is probably not HSK 4. Even though he passed the test by hacking it, not by being at that level and taking the test. That is pretty much it. I hope you guys understand where I'm coming at with this video, and I'll see you all in the next video. And I better head off and eat before Elmo eats all my fucking food.